Hello, welcome back to another episode of Sightless Living. If you're new around here, my name is Anita.
Big bold text appears and reads, Sightless Living. Copyright symbol 2021-2025. Sightless Living. All rights reserved. Then disappears.
Today I am going to answer a viewer who had a question about salt and pepper shakers. How I tell them apart, being completely blind, is in several ways. As we were putting away shakers from spring and summer, one being this replica of a big green egg in the shape of a salt and pepper shaker, it's real small. I figured now's a good time to address it because I'm going to switch into my fall and winter shakers. So I'm going to sit this here out the way, and the camera can focus in on it to give you a peek of it. First, I start with these shakers we keep in the kitchen. They have to be washed before I fill them. So I may show you some jokes, but don't worry. These have things in it, but I only put like a tablespoon of salt and pepper, which is about this size. Normally, I will put 2 tablespoons of salt and pepper, which is this size. I'm holding the spoons up. But in all the salt shakers, I normally put rice in there. The rice absorbs the ambient moisture in the air from, I guess, cooking, and in the summertime, steam and humidity, and you'll notice your salt will clump. My mother taught us, as we were growing up, to put rice in the salt shakers. So each week, everybody had a chore, and that's how we learned. I notice a lot of people today don't do that, but it's a good trick, and it does work. I have 2 shakers here in the kitchen. My question was,
how can I tell my salt and pepper shakers apart without sniffing them?
I'm putting it up to my nose like I'm going to sniff them. I wouldn't want to see that in my dining room, nor would I want anybody feeling all over them like I'm doing here, trying to see how many holes. The old rule that says you put the salt in the shaker that has the least holes, and you put the pepper in the shaker that has the most holes. I don't know if that really stands true today, because it depends on what your salt and pepper look like. A lot of times we buy peppercorns and we grind it ourselves. And when you do that, if the holes are not big enough, they will not come out. I have to buy special peppers or salts, because we use the sea salt and it comes like big rocks, and then you get your mortar and pestle and you can grind it down that way, or now you can purchase it already ground. So it depends on you. If you're in a different region, then it's the opposite. They like the salt in the shaker with the most holes, and they want the pepper in the least. So it depends on where you live, and it depends on what you want to do. We in this household use the shakers with the most holes for pepper, and then we use the ones with the least holes for the salt. Once I discover which one is the pepper or the salt, because it can fluctuate. If we have a thicker or chunkier salt, it may have to go in the one with the most holes because it's not coming out. And then sometimes we'll have a thin, it seems like a watery type of pepper where it just falls out the holes. Then we'll put that in the one with the least holes, because you do not want to have it just flowing freely out of your shaker onto your food. First, with this one has 3 holes. I'm just feeling it for you. That's not what I do though. Can you imagine a guest? Oh, let me check the pepper. Okay, did you want it? That's not going to work. I'm going to hold out the pepper and shake it next to the camera to see if you can hear it. You can hear it's very light. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. So I'll sit that back down. But I do have a rubber band on it. And then here's the other one with no rubber band. And you'll hear this because I have rice and salt in there. So it makes a louder noise. That's how I tell which is the salt and which is the pepper. But these stay in the kitchen. They're made of marble. They're very heavy, so it's not really a great choice for the dining room. I went to the storage bin and got some salt and pepper shakers out. These are turkeys. They're in white. One has 2 holes, one has 3. When I'm ready to fill them, they have to be washed, dried thoroughly, yada, yada, yada. Then I will figure out how I will mark it because I don't want to be feeling for the holes up in the top of them. And I don't think they are thin enough for rubber bands. I'll have to put a big, bulky rubber band on the pepper, but I might do that. Or I may just put a Braille label underneath or on the back, or maybe I'll just put a rubber band on it. But that's how I would do these, and they go with mostly anything. I think they are ceramic, not stoneware. They sound ceramic. But nonetheless, they're kind of large. I never fill my shakers to capacity. I always put like 2 tablespoons in there, and I use my funnel here. So I'm holding up my funnel, take the lid off the bottom, and then stick the funnel in there, and then I'll pour my 2 tablespoons of salt or pepper, whichever turkey I'm putting it in or whichever shaker. Then I replace the cap and they're done. Next are a pair of leaves. These are fall leaves. One is orange, one is red. One has 2 holes, one has 3 holes. That seems to be the trend nowadays. You fill the bottoms and you figure out which way you want to put your salt or pepper. You can pick the 2 holes or the 3 holes. We would put the pepper in the 3 holes and we would put our salt in the 2 holes. But you can put it whichever way you want because they're not paying attention to that rule anymore. And the smaller the shaker, the less salt I put in there. And the smaller the shaker, the less rice I put in there. Also with the rice, that is raw white rice. I had someone say,
Anita, your trick didn't work.
First of all, it's not my trick. And secondly, you're not supposed to cook the rice. They cook the rice and put it in there. So of course, that's not going to work. It has to be raw rice, and white rice is what people use. I don't know if anyone uses brown rice, and I don't know if it even will give you the same result. I've been using white rice for a long time, and what I do is I open the bag. I'll take a pinch of rice grains, and I will take my shaker. Let me grab a shaker here. This is the salt. I'll take a grain. I'll try to stick it in these holes here. If it doesn't fit, then I know I'm good. If it does fit and goes down, because some of the rice is small, and I do have some rice here that can actually fit in these, and I can press it down. It doesn't actually go into the shaker because it gets stuck. So then I have to turn it upside down and bang it to get it out. But I still would not put that in the shaker because as I'm shaking it out, let me get my bowl here. I got a clear bowl here. I'm going to take the salt shaker. I have a clear bowl in my left hand. I got the shaker in my right. I'm going to take the shaker and shake it into the clear bowl. I'm sure salt's coming out. but you don't really hear the rice. I'll put my finger in there and see if I feel any rice. Nope. So that's what I do. I would hate to have someone shaking the shaker on their food and some raw rice comes out. So that's something you have to pay attention to if you want to do the salt hack. This keeps your salt free flowing, keeps it from clumping. So I've been doing that for a long time and it really works. But if you want to incorporate that into your salt shaker practice, make sure you use rice that will not come out your holes. These are ceramic, I guess. That's what it sounds like. And they are fall leaves, very small. And a lot of the salt shakers we have are small. Even when we have a dinner party, we have a set of 12. So each person gets a personal salt and pepper shaker next to their place setting. In that case, I would only put 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of pepper. Because what you're going to do is throw it out after they've handled it. You don't want to circulate it or incorporate it into a salt shaker. So that's why we do that. And the shakers are very small. They're clear glass. And they have the same thing on the top. I think one has 1 hole and the other has 2. But you don't fill them to capacity. And then this way your guests can put whatever salt or pepper they want and just sit it back down. And when you clear the table, you just take everything away and go wash it. Usually when we have the big Thanksgiving spread, we'll have a pair of shakers at one end, maybe some in the middle, and maybe one at the far end from where I'm sitting, because you have your long table. Another tip I have for viewers who have asked, I use white pepper. It's milder on the tummy. The pepper we use in the kitchen shakers, that's black pepper. It's very strong. It's very fragrant. You can start sneezing if you get too close to it when you're shaking it. White pepper. It's flavorful and is not as strong as this black pepper here. If you are looking for a solution such as that, you can always look for white pepper in the spice aisle, and I usually get whatever's on sale. Then we have some mushrooms here. I like these. They have 2 holes on the top on one and 3 on the other. One's a dark brown and one's like a chocolate or milk chocolate brown. The bottoms are kind of rough even underneath the mushroom. So these are very nice, and they can be out for the fall or spring. Actually, you can use these all year long. Next, I will pick up these. This can also be sat on your table for fall. I have a pumpkin here. These are all white. So they can go on the same table as the Thanksgiving turkeys if you're doing Thanksgiving. Or maybe you have a harvest meal. We say harvest because we don't try to stick to the holidays. We do Thanksgiving. Sometimes it snows, so it becomes a harvest dinner. But anyway, we have a white pumpkin here, and that has 3 holes. And then we have a slender kind of squash or gourd, and it's bent a little, and that's the way it's made. And I think these are ceramic. And the gourd has 2 holes on the side where he bends back. So that we would put the salt, and for the pumpkin, you put the pepper because that has 3 holes. Or you can switch it. Like I said, it depends on the consistency of your spice. So these can go along on the same table with the turkey because they're all white. That's if you color match or want to do anything. I'll stick them here. These are Christmas trees. These were made before I was even born. And that's how they came. I have a big Christmas tree here. and a smaller one. This is a green color with 5 golden rings. Back in the day, they had 12 days of Christmas kind of theme shakers. This has 4 holes on both of them. Now, on some shakers, when you have the same holes, you'll notice that some may be larger and some may be smaller. How I tell those apart is I take a toothpick. I find the holes, I stick the toothpick in each hole, and I pay attention to how far it goes in. I notice the big ones will go in deeper than the smaller holes. So that way I can tell I could either put salt in the larger one if I want to oversalt my food, or maybe the salt is in bigger chunks and it's having trouble coming out of the holes, or I could put pepper in that one. And in the smaller one, I could put pepper or salt, whatever I want. It depends on the consistency of my seasonings, or if I want to have more salt in the shaker and less pepper. So it depends. Also, the sizes are different. The one in my left hand is larger than the one in my right hand. That's how I tell that. If I couldn't tell that, I could put a rubber band around it. Just like I can put a rubber band around the mushroom stem. And actually, you can put a rubber band on anything if you have trouble telling your shakers apart. Once you fill your shaker with raw rice grains in the salt, you'll be able to pick your salt shaker every time. And that's what I like about that hack. Let me mention, when you place your shakers on the table, remember, white goes on the right. So your salt sits next to the pepper, but the salt is on the right and your pepper is on the left. Whichever way you want to do your shakers, white goes on the right, meaning your salt is on the right and your pepper's on the left. So far, they still stick to that tradition, but as far as what you put in each shaker, that's up for grabs. It depends on your ingredients or contents you're putting inside each vessel, which would be your whimsical salt and pepper shaker, or maybe you want a standard one, but it would be whatever you're putting in there versus the whole size, how you're going to distribute it. So I don't pay attention to that. I go with whatever suits me. So I'll show you those. So those are the Christmas trees. And next up, we will do the little mushrooms. So I'm going to move those and put the mushrooms here. I'm not paying attention to the holes. I'm just sitting them there so the camera can give you a shot. You know what? Let me lay one down so you can see the rough edge underneath the mushroom. And you can see how it stands. And I like these. I think these are my favorite. But I have a lot of shakers that are my favorite. Okay, let me swap those out. And we will do the leaves. The fall leaves. One's orange, one's red. Okay, hold on to your seats because we got more. Let me put the turkeys over here so you can check those out. And I always get funny because I like to put them on the table kissing. So I stick them together facing each other. Gobble, gobble, gobble. We got the pumpkin in the gourd. Let me sit that there. Let me move the turkeys. Here's a little pumpkin. I don't know if he has a face. No one's ever told me that. It doesn't feel like. Maybe he does have a little face. Yeah, maybe. I'll sit it this way. You can write in a comment and let me know if it has a face. That would be engagement. And then I'll just stick this gourd here so you can check those out. Leaves, I'll just show you these. These been around. These marble ones. So I just sit those there. And I keep the rubber band on the pepper one. It breaks a lot because I stick the little ones on there because I don't want rubber bands wrapped around 600 times. So I get the small rubber bands. You can find them in Walmart. That's all the shakers I have so far that I have pulled out. Some people have impressive salt and pepper shaker collections. I like whimsical ones because they help me in two ways. I can feel them and know what they are. And when no one's looking, I can just be feeling all over the tops. Okay, this has 2 holes. Oh, that has 3. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. When I first set them up, I do that. I'll find out which one has the holes that I need. And then, like this one here has 3 holes. I can just take my rubber band and I can stick it around the stem of the mushroom. Now I know that's the one with 3 holes, and we would most likely have pepper in that because that's a shaker that someone's not going to grab more than the one with 2 holes, because the one with 2 holes would have salt and the one with 3 would have pepper. In this house, I'm going to take the rubber band off because I don't want to pack it up with the rubber band on it. That's how I can tell them apart. It's really not that hard. Don't be afraid. You will come up with any kind of hacks that will help you in your kitchen. And I like to lay them down. Sometimes I just lay them on the table. Like the gourd, he likes to fall over. So I just lay him down and sit the pumpkin next to him. So you can make little designs with the salt and pepper shakers. And people don't even notice that you can't see. If you're new to blindness and you're having some difficulty dealing with it, life happens. Some of us get visual impairments while others may not. Some others may get walking impairments. So when life happens, you just adapt and you move on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And to those who have asked, I hope I answered your question. If I have not, you can just hit me up again and I will address whatever you need. So thanks for your questions. And I wish some of you guys would give more engagements. It's like a ghost town. You look at the videos, no comments. Some people are brave enough to make a comment. But if you would like to comment and you are afraid to show your ID or whatever, why not make another name for yourself, like Mushroom Keeper or something like that, or Ghostbusters or something. You don't have to use your name, but it does help out the channel when you do engage, like in the video, commenting on the video, or sharing the video with a friend, family, or your social media. I'd appreciate that, because that helps YouTube push out the channel to more members. So if you would like to help out the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and share. So YouTube will say, maybe the old girl got something there, and they'll start pumping out the video to others. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Scene changes to a mountain stream backdrop. Rolling credits appear in big bold text scrolling upward from the bottom of the screen. Text reads, Anita, hostess/visionary, TM symbol, videographer/editor. The rest of the text may be read in the description box below. Thanks for watching.